My friends, welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we are continuing the coverage of Quinton Simon, 20-month-old who went missing. His mom reported him missing, only come to find out that she was behind him missing and now his death. Let's go ahead and dive into what we know as we dive into episode 6 of the Quinton Simon story. After weeks spent meticulously picking through the Chatham County landfill on Little Neck Road, investigators from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Chatham County Police, and Georgia Department of Natural Resource uncovered on Friday, which would be Friday is November 18th of last week. So November 18th is when they found what appeared to be human remains, including bones. And the forensics lab at FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia, confirmed earlier yesterday, November 21st, that the remains were human, said Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley. And based on previously gathered evidence, Chatham County Police arrested Leilani Simon. Now, Leilani, she is charged with they have charged her with malice murder, concealing the death of another, making a false report because she said he was missing. Someone must have come into the home and took him out of his playpen, and making false statements in connection with the disappearance of her son, 20-month-old toddler Quinton Simon. Leilani, she was booked into the Chatham County Detention Center on Monday afternoon after they confirmed that these were human remains, and she faces her first court appearance today for a bond hearing. And as we know, this is extremely heartbreaking, as the chief would even say. This is a heartbreaking development for everyone who loved Quinton, for the many people who came to know him after his disappearance, and for our department. Hadley, his voice was cracking with emotion as he was sharing this, and he continues, "When we first received the call that Quinton was missing, we were hopeful that we would find him alive and unharmed. But as we have been telling the public for weeks, all of our evidence pointed to his mother being responsible for his death and his remains being found in the landfill." Leilani, she reported her son missing on October 5th, and within 3 hours, according to Hadley, FBI agents were on the scene, leading a multi-agency effort to find Quinton Simon. And Will Clark, the senior supervisory resident agent for the FBI Savannah and Brunswick offices, said that additional DNA testing is underway to confirm that the remains are indeed Quinton. Those results will not be available for several days, Clark shared. This investigation does not end here. There is more work to do. The FBI, along with our law enforcement partners, will continue to find justice for Quinton, he shared. And both officials, they remain tight-lipped regarding other details gathered during the investigation in an effort to not jeopardize the case against Leilani Simon, a case that has drawn national attention, as well as the not always welcome disruptions of protesters and curiosity seekers. We have a high level of confidence that those are Quinton's remains, Chief Hadley said, who added that the discovery of the remains is a significant turning point in strengthening what we had already believed to be a strong case. We felt that we needed to make the arrest today because that was the right thing to do. At times during the press conference, Hadley had to gather himself, and at one point saying, "You have a lot of emotions, just as a general human being. As a person who has children, you see the impact that that has on people. So if you step back and take a moment to kind of absorb that, if you didn't have any feelings about that, you might have to ask yourself a few questions. Hadley has not made a decision yet whether to continue the landfill search. He shared, "I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say that there was, some weight lifted off the organization, and particularly those detectives and investigators who were completely and 100% committed to seeking justice for Quenton." So there is a little bit of relief, but be mindful, Hadley shared, there's still a lot of work to do, and they're dedicated to doing that. And we want to see this to successful prosecution. And that kind of goes with what I continue to say. They have to be careful with what they share simply because you don't want to mess up the investigation. We knew for a long time the only fingers that were being pointed at anyone were the mom, Leilani Simon. Now, some sleuthies were pointed to grandma. Those are the type of things that get on my nerves so much. They will throw anyone under the bus to find answers. And this is where you want to stick to the sources that are sharing. All they have said from the very beginning is, we only have our eyes on Leilani. Leilani is the only suspect we believe. But you have picketers literally blaming grandma. Grandma's the first one that kind of shared with the public that she shared that little Quenton was in the landfill. She was the only one. But everyone, of course, picketers literally were saying that both grandma and mom were the baby killers. I have problems with that. I wish people would stop doing that because no one has pointed to grandma. No one has pointed to grandma from law enforcement. These internet sleuthies, they were pointing at grandma. They were holding picket signs outside of the home blaming grandma. You see what I mean? Like, why don't you listen to what law enforcement is saying? And they have shared, in this case, no other suspects. So, as they shared, they do not anticipate any other arrests. She has been the sole suspect. So shame on you, so-called sleuthies placing blame on grandma when law enforcement. Hey, will we find out more later? Maybe. I don't know. But grandma did say shame on mom. She didn't trust mom. She should not have left her with mom. So when it comes to anyone being arrested in the missing toddler case, well, now, will she be facing charges with child endangerment? I don't know. But she had nothing to do with the disappearance of this child, according to law enforcement. And of course, as time goes on, we will continue to find out more. But as Chatham County, they said they have arrested the 22-year-old Leilani Simon, and she is charged with murder in connection with the disappearance and death of her son, 20-month-old little Quinton Simon. And it's only a matter of time before we find out more in that particular case. But people are literally celebrating now that she has finally been arrested. Neighbors of Leilani Simon, the Georgia mom, who is charged in the disappearance and murder of her toddler son, they say that they are very glad she has been arrested. Jerry McCusker, she even shared how happy she was that, she said from the first day, it just did not feel right. She would tell WTOC on Monday yesterday. See, McCusker, she lives near the Savannah home where Leilani reported her 20-month-old son missing on October 5th. And finally, she's arrested, but McCusker added, I was happy. I'm glad that they've arrested her, It's just been heartbreaking, and this is the best news that comes out of that situation. And Leilani, she was named a prime suspect just days after he went missing. And Chatham County Police, they even confirmed they believe the toddler was deceased. Even before they found him, they had believed they were looking for a deceased toddler in that landfill. And so, in the weeks since the disappearance, Leilani and her family aroused further suspicion through their inconsistent statements and bizarre partying during the investigation. In one interview with police, Leilani's mother, Billie Jo Howell, admitted that her daughter, who has two other children, hasn't always done the right thing. But in an interview with WTOC aired earlier this month, Leilani vehemently, why am I having trouble pronouncing that? That's not even that hard. Vehemently maintained her innocence. She said, "I've been here every day since Quenton went missing. I'm not running and I'm not hiding," she said tearfully. And you can see right here, this is when they did that interview. Here were her crocodile tears, as I like to refer to them. And she even said, "If something comes up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station." My understanding is that when this finally came up, I believe grandma took her to the FBI station or police station or somewhere. And so, meanwhile, another neighbor said they were struggling to cope with the emotional weight of the case, even in the wake of the arrest of Leilani Simon. One person, the unnamed neighbor, she said, "I still cry. They'll show a picture of Quenton on TV and I'll cry. It happened right around my birthday. That was the most miserable birthday I've ever had." In addition to this malice murder, Leilani is charged with concealing the death of another. And as I shared, making that false crime report that someone else come in here and even given false statements, according to the Chatham County Police. And police chief, they said, "We've been telling you for weeks, all of our evidence pointed to the mother." And so, as Hadley himself insisted, she doesn't deserve a Thanksgiving. Quenton deserves that. And guess what, folks? She will be spending Thanksgiving behind bars, as many have been wishing all along that she spends that time behind bars. And now she will be spending her time behind bars. You see, this is what I'm referring to where they said Billie Jo and Leilani baby killers. Again, law enforcement now are saying only one person is being charged with this, and this is the only person we've been looking at. Shame on this person who went out there and publicly said, "Billie Jo, baby killer." Shame on that girl right there holding up the sign. I appreciate the picketers. I appreciate bringing awareness. Definitely not damaging any of that. Little Quenton deserved justice. And it's sad that, here this is, little Quenton had been missing since October 5th. And then later on, the grandfather of the little missing toddler, he was killed in a hit and run crash. And this was according to reports. Henry Bubba Moss Sr., he was fatally struck after pulling off to the side when he got a flat tire on Highway 23 near Girard, about 80 miles northwest of Savannah. Moss had exited his car and was walking back to it when he was hit by a driver who kept on going. Now, this is according to the Burke County Sheriff's Office. His sudden death was the latest tragedy to befall Quenton's biological father, 24-year-old Henry Moss Jr. Now, which is also sad because Moss's mother, Moss's Jr.'s mother, died a week earlier before this hit and run, which is sad that he would lose two parents that close to each other. And then shortly after, at that time, his son had went missing. And, he even said, like, hey, if she didn't want to take care of this child, she should have just let me know. And so Quenton, his troubled mother, Leilani Simon, she admitted to drug use while pregnant, and she had remained a prime suspect the whole time. Now we finally get some justice for this family. Henry Moss, he didn't get the chance to see. Little Quenton, we can finally start getting some justice for you, my little friend. And Leilani, I hope you never see the light of day, because it was obvious that you had something to do with this all along. And it looks like all along, as Darkness Exposed shared this message from Billy Joe Howell, where early on it was said Quenton had passed, he's in a landfill, and my daughter done it. She has no memory of it. One of the things that really has stuck out to me this whole time is, if the boyfriend saw him that morning, what happened from the time he saw little Quenton, to when he didn't see little Quenton? What happened in that time? Like, he has never been facing any charges. Did he know? Like, was he completely ignorant? Or did he share his side on what he knew would happen, and he just disappeared from this situation and the cops were okay with it? That's a theory, right? And so, my friends, I had to continue this update because I've been sharing all along on this Quinton Simon. But guess what? There's a good chance you're going to see me again today, because we have to discuss the new court hearing of another little two Delphi girls who had been missing for almost 6 years, and they finally got the perp in that. I'm Manny Rodriguez, my friends. My goal is to keep you updated on what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. So if that sounds like something you like to follow, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you get some value from it, hey, hit that like, because at the end of the day, that tells YouTube you got some value. And hey, I just want to share and make sure you get some value and keep you aware of what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to serving you again. Have a great day, my friends.